After spending countless hours experimenting, I finally figured out how to do Boot Omarchy with Windows 11 on the same drive. In this video, I will show you the only way to do Boot Omarchy desktop with Windows 11. Now, this method makes it very easy to install Omarchy alongside Windows 11 on the same drive and is one of the safest ways to set up a do boot on any computer without risking data loss. However, it's recommended to back up your files to the cloud or external media. Also, at the end of this video, I will show you how to safely remove Omarchy from the do boot. Now be sure to watch the video until the end to avoid any confusion. Now check the description down below for more information, timestamps and download links. The prerequisites of this video: you need Windows 11 installed on your PC or laptop, a 16 gigs or higher USB drive to create a bootable disk with Omarchy, at least 50 GB of free space reserved from your existing drive. Before installing Omarchy, it's recommended to create a system restore point on your Windows computer. Now go ahead and search for restore point in the start menu and open it. This tool allows you to take a snapshot of the system current state. If something goes wrong with the Omarchy installation, you can use this backup to restore your system back to the normal state. If you're using Windows 11 Professional, disable BitLocker encryption before proceeding. BitLocker can interfere with Linux installations. For Windows 11 home users, this feature is disabled by default. Now let's proceed with creating a free space for Omarchy. Right-click on the desktop and open Terminal, then type disk mgmt and press Enter to access the Disk Manager, which displays all drives and their partitions. In my case, you can see that one drive is connected. Drive 0 has 3 partitions. The first one is the EFA partition, where the Windows boot loader is present. The second one is the main Windows, and the last one is the recovery partition. I'm going to choose the C drive to shrink the free space for Omarchy. In your case, it might be D, E or F, whatever. Just choose any partition and right-click on it. Then choose Shrink Volume and allocate a minimum of 40 GB or more. You can type the value in megabytes. In my case, I'm going to allocate 200 GB. You can also use Calculator, then click on Shrink. This will create unallocated free space. And that's it. Now we have done creating a free space for Omarchy. Next, head over to the Omarchy website and download the latest ISO image. Once it's downloaded, use either Rufus or HR to create a bootable USB. It's time to create a bootable USB with Omarchy. You will need USB pen drive with at least 16 GB of free space. Now for this video, I will be using HR. Then plug in the USB drive into your computer. Simply import the ISO file. Select the drive and click on Flash. Once the flashing process is complete, restart your PC or laptop. You can reboot the PC and boot into BIOS using the keyboard shortcut based on your motherboard. Now mostly it could be F2, F9, F10 or the escape key. In the UEFI BIOS, enable USB boot. Next, go ahead and disable secure boot, which is very important. Then change the boot order by setting the USB drive as primary boot device. Once it's done, save the changes. Now your system will boot into Omarchy from the USB drive. If it fails to boot, use the boot menu to load Omarchy install media. Now you will see a CLI environment. If the font size looks too small, press the escape key thrice to quit the installer, then run this command to increase the console font size. Since Omarchy supports offline installation, you can still connect to Wi-Fi. To do so, use the iWCTL to connect to the internet. Now simply type iWCTL and press enter. Then type device list to view available network interfaces. Now look for WLAN 0 and ensure it's turned on. If it's off, enable it by typing this command. Then type station WLAN 0 get networks to see the list of Wi-Fi networks. Next, run this command station WLAN 0 connect and enter the name of your Wi-Fi network. Then press the return key and input the Wi-Fi password. After entering the password, wait for 5 seconds and press enter to connect to the internet. You might not see any output if the connection was successful. Then you can exit the IWD mode. And that's it. You have successfully connected to the internet. Now run the ping command to ensure you are receiving the packets. Now type lsblk to list all drafts connected to your PC. Now in this case, as you can see, the two main drafts. Now forget about the loops. Just concentrate on the SDA or NVMe. The NVMe 0 and 1 is the main draft where Windows 11 is installed, and SDA is your bootable USB draft. It's time to create partitions for Omarchy using the free space we created earlier. Type cfdisk dev NVMe 0 and 1 and press enter. Here you can see your existing EFI and Windows partitions. Now keep in mind, use the arrow keys to navigate and press enter to confirm selection. Now scroll down to the free space. For Omarchy, we need to create two main partitions, one for EFI and another one for root. Then select the free space and press enter to create the partition with a size of 4 GB. Then press enter to confirm. Now select the new partition, go to type and choose EFI system. Next, select the free space and create the root partition of 20 GB or higher. In my case, I'm going to use the remaining free space and press the enter key. The type for this partition will be the Linux file system. And that's it, we have done creating the partitions for Omarchy. Just remember these two disk identifiers, then write the changes to alter the disk. Once it's done, quit from the cfdisk. After creating the partitions, let's move on and format them properly. If you type lsblk, you will see all the newly created partitions. The NVMe 0 and 1 P5 for the EFI and P6 for root. We need to format these partitions one by one. Now first, format the Omarchy EFI partition, which in my case is NVMe 0 and 1 P5 by typing this command. Next, format the root partition, which is NVMe 0 and 1 P6 by typing this command. Now make sure you are using the BTRFS file system for the root partition, which is required by Omarchy. Now let's go ahead and mount the partitions. Now first, we need to mount the root partition, which in my case is NVMe 0 and 1 P6 to the MNT. Next, create a directory inside MNT and name it as boot. Then mount the Omarchy EFI partition to this directory. Now make sure all the partitions are mounted properly. You can verify this by tapping lsblk. It's time to install the base Arch system. To do so, run the Arch installer script by tapping Arch install and press enter. Now use the arrow keys to navigate through the options and press enter to select. Then set the system language. Then choose your local. In my case, I'm leaving the first three options at their default values. Next, choose Disk Configuration, select Partitioning, then choose Pre-mounted Configuration and specify the mount path as MNT. Now enable Swap. Next, choose Bootloader and select Limine. I repeat, use only Limine. After that, set the hostname as Arch Linux and set the password for the root user. Next, create a new user account and make sure to add the user to the sudoers list for elevated privileges. Then scroll down and select Confirm and Exit. Do not select any profile type for now. Next, move to Applications and choose Pipewire as your audio server. Next, go to Network Configuration and select the first option. Finally, set your time zone. And that's it. These are the only options you need to enable to make it work. Next, select Install and wait for a few minutes for the script to perform its magic. Once the installation is complete, enter chroot environment. Then type this command to update Pacman database and run this command to install Reflector. It's recommended to configure the Pacman mirrors for faster package downloads. To do so, first backup the default Pacman mirror list by running this command. Once it's done, run this command to select the top 10 fastest mirrors. For more details about Reflector, check the link in the description down below. Next, run this command to install the Omarchy dependencies. Once the installation is complete, exit from chroot and unmount all the partitions from MNT. Now reboot your system and remove the bootable USB media. Now your system will boot into Arch CLI environment. Now log in with your username and password and type this command to increase the terminal font size for better visibility. It's time to install Omarchy. To do so, type this command to download and run the installation script. Now this process will take some time, so sit back, relax, and grab some drinks. Once it's complete, reboot your system and your computer will boot into Omarchy. It's time to add the Windows Boot Manager to Limine. If you recall, we couldn't find the Windows Boot Manager and booted directly into Omarchy. To fix this, open Terminal by pressing Super plus Enter and type this command to log in as the root user. Next, type lsbk to list all the drafts and their partitions. In my case, NVMe 0 and 1 is the main draft where both Windows and Omarchy are installed. Here, NVMe 0 and 1 P5 is the Omarchy EFI partition. Now type this command to scan all the boot entries. Now look for Windows boot entry. In my case, it appears as option 3 and press enter to add it to Limine. Then run this command and navigate to the Omarchy EFI file location. This is the Omarchy EFI file responsible for loading the Omarchy OS. We need to copy this file into this directory. After that, rename the file using this command to prevent any naming conflicts. Next, navigate to this location and rename this config file to avoid conflicts. Next, navigate to the boot partition. Run this command to edit the file. Then remove hashtag before the timeout and set the timeout limit to 30 seconds. Next, scroll down a bit until you find the image path line. Now replace Linux with Limine, which points to Omarchy EFI file location. Once it's done, save the changes by pressing Ctrl+O and hit enter, then exit with Ctrl+X. Now reboot your system and voila! Now you will see both Windows Boot Manager and Omarchy entries in the Limine boot menu. You can choose either one to boot into your desired operating system. And that's it. This is how you properly do boot Omarchy and Windows 11 on your computer. As a bonus part of this video, if in case you don't like Omarchy and decided to uninstall, then reboot your computer into Windows 11. Now once you're inside Windows 11, open Terminal and type this command to open the Disk Manager. Here, in my case, next to the C drive, there are two new partitions are showing. We need to delete each partition one after the other. Now as you can see, I have done deleting root partition and there is no option to delete the boot EFI partition. Well, it's expected and we're gonna take command prompt help to remove this partition. To do so, go ahead and open command prompt and run as administrator. Now inside this, type disk part and press enter. Then type list disk. Now this will show all the drives connected to my PC. Now as you can see, drive 0 is the only drive connected to my computer where Windows are present. I'm gonna go ahead and select this drive by typing this command. Now I'm gonna type list partition to view all partitions of this drive. If you notice carefully, partition 5 is the Omarchy boot EFI partition which we failed to remove from the disk manager, which is this one. Now as you can see, it's around 4 GB. We're gonna go ahead and delete this partition. To do so, type this command and press enter to select the partition. Now make sure you have selected the proper partition. Then type this command to remove this partition. Now as you can see, under the disk manager, it's now deleted and we gain back the free space. You can use this free space and merge it back to Windows 11. And that's it, we have successfully removed Omarchy. Now restart your computer. It should boot your system into Windows 11 directly and you won't face any issues. And that's pretty much it. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. This has been KSK Royal. I will see you in the next one.